Can everyone
What?
hear me? Are we here?
Are we here? I don't know. Are we here?
I've been asking myself that question all day. We're in the middle of a heat wave. I don't know what the fuck is going on.
Yeah, I am as well. I've not left my house in like 15 hours because I got home from work last night. It was like, it's 107 degrees and the sun is going down, and I hate that for me. So
It's so bad. It's so bad. Anyway, hello everyone.
yeah.
Hello.
Hi. This is so exciting. Welcome to the first ever episode of SpecTopTable, the Reclamation of Arnor, our tabletop actual play of The One Ring, which is a system based in Middle-earth, developed and published by Free League Publishing. Not sponsored, but they're a really cool company and they have a lot of really cool games. This is one of them.
Oh, that reminds me.
It's gonna be crazy. I am apparently required to be the holder of the brain cell, which means the boys here might not. I will.
All of you to assume I ever had the brain cell to begin with.
My suffering is inevitable, and I hope I survive it. Calico's reaction to the dad joke in the chat just now is also my reaction to the dad jokes at all times. With a little, Shammers never sees it, but there might even just be the addition of a little teeny tiny middle finger, just as cathartic.
Oh, I might not see it, but I always feel it. I always feel the.
So yeah, welcome in. So excited you guys are all here to watch what may or may not be a nightmare in the flesh for me, but we'll see. All of that to say, I am really excited to be here, and I'm sorry if I seem more or less nervous than normal, because normally last week I just got to be a capitalist crow. Now this week I have to be in charge, and that's unfortunate.
Now you need to be a non-capitalist eagle, possibly.
Could it be?
Could it be that Kendall has been typecast as Burb?
I regret nothing. But I don't believe in dilly-dallying. We're not going to do that. Actually, that's a lie. I do believe in dilly-dallying, but not when it matters.
Yeah.
Cyber and Shammers have both played Sea of Thieves with me, and they know that when there's a zipline on the line, I am happy to dilly-dally. Yeah. Turn up the volume. Thank you, Stays.
Pump up the jam.
Hello?
Wow, the beat is.
Is this
Sorry.
better? I don't know. I'm just I'm vibing with it. Also, my microphone isn't super close to my mouth, so maybe that helps. Did that help? Stacy, don't leave me hanging, girl. You gotta tell me.
Let's try harmonize and find out. Hello.
Hello. I was gonna be in the middle, but whatever. I'm so used to it's the alto in me. Can't take the top line. Could never.
Well, you're in a call with two bass baritones. Get it up, yeah.
Much better. Thank
Ha
you,
ha ha ha
ha. We're fine. I think the brain cell's on its last legs, though, because I don't know what's happening here.
The SpecDub brain cell is always on its last legs, to be honest. It's I'm surprised it's still here.
The Last Leg is a fantastic panel show produced by Channel 4. It has really good comedians on it. You should watch it. It's great.
Dear God, it's a hand. It's good to see everyone in chat, though. We got good to see you in chat, Stace. Thanks for the lurk and thanks for the tech tips. Good to see you in chat, Calico. Please don't leave because of my terrible dad jokes. And we've got a hand pressing axe to doubt in chat.
About what, the brain cell being on its last legs, or it even existing?
It probably even existing. But,
is that a fucking LA Noir joke in the year of our Lord 2025?
Me?
Quite possibly.
I don't know what you're
Good
talking
lord.
about, actually, so probably not.
Oh, okay. I really resisting the urge to info dump on Eleanor because the game's fascinating. But
Cyber, I regret to inform you, I did not play games seriously until Shammers was like, "Hey, I want to introduce you to all of my friends, and we're gonna do it by playing a video game you've never heard of."
Sweet.
So
You're right, Han. It is too warm.
Too warm.
I
Help,
believe
and
we're all
puddle.
puddled. But,
And puddle. Oh no.
oh no! Whatever shall
Hello,
we do?
Puddle.
Stop it. Stop it, or you lose
Let
your
me speak.
speaking privilege.
Let me say that in the language of a people.
Oh, Emma's here. Emma just agreed with me.
Hello,
so
Emma.
I win. But I'm really excited, guys. Like, it doesn't take a genius to know how much I love Lord of the Rings, and I've loved Lord of the Rings for a very long time, and it's always been a story that I wanted to, like, bring my friends into and tell stories in, so I'm really excited that we get to do that. We will have, in the future, there will be additional cast members here, but we wanted to kind of get the ball rolling on this month, so I've got these two nut jobs here to tell the beginning of the story with. Hi, Ginty, welcome in. Just noticed that
Welcome in, Ginty.
But it's exciting, and I hope that I have created a space and a story that people like and come back and watch. Ginty is asking how we all are in this hot weather. So my hot weather is in Fahrenheit, Ginty. It is 104 degrees outside my house right now, which is, I believe, about 41 degrees Celsius, if my math, as quickly as it was done, is correct. So it's hot as hell out here, and at least you guys are getting, like, clouds and rain. Nah, it's so dry and not humid here that we don't even have
Excuse me?
And it's this hot outside.
Clouds and rain? No. We have not had clouds and rain today.
Well, the Welsh got clouds and rain today.
Well, fuck the Welsh. I'm in Scotland, right?
Which is, like, so...
So are you propositioning me, sir? Is this what's happening here?
Oh, by the way, I meant to say to this before we started the stream, by the way, this is totally unrelated to anything that's going on. I was playing Sea of Thieves the other night, bumped into someone called Captain Camry, made instant friends. It was great.
That is fun.
First time I've ever been able to make friends with a Reaper. It's been fucking great.
Great.
Just saw the username and was just like, Captain Camry, wait a minute. Are you guys Welsh? Do you have Welsh family? Just like, yeah, we're Welsh. Just like, Scottish, up the Celts! Up the Celts! And I was instantly like...
Stace just said, take back your fuck the Welsh comment unless you're going to do something about it. Winky face, kiss, kiss. Just so we're all aware of what's happening right now.
Fan-fucking-tastic.
Amazing. Color me shook. But anyway, just to, like, kind of, we're really excited about and
we're gonna do nerd shit.
Yeah, it's just big old nerd shit. Like, that's literally what this is gonna be. It's just sorry, Emma's response said, Evie, back off.
Thanks for the account, very much appreciated.
I love it here. But I've loved Lord of the Rings since I was a kid. My dad read the books to me when I was really young, and, like, you know, did the character voices. This is, like, even before the movies came out, so, like, it was just a really special thing that, like, I was able to connect with him over. My dad is still alive, but we don't see each other very much anymore. I just felt like I was being very dramatic there. He's great. I saw him on Father's Day.
You being dramatic? No, never. I don't know what you mean.
It's like we're actors or something. Anyway, like, drama's in our DNA. But it's just really exciting to kind of explore the world in this way, and it's going to be fun. So, without further ado, we're gonna rollsies. Actually, hey, Cyber, lower, hi. Answer the question, Cyber.
I believe that's Cyber for Low, I believe.
You know me too well.
Is that your final answer?
Yeah, sure. Why the fuck not?
Okay, cool.
Don't worry,
So
I do speak fluent
D12,
cyber.
so definitely low. And who, since you both technically guessed correctly, that defeated the point of the exercise, but
Okay.
which one of you giant nerds wants to have your prologue done first? We're gonna give some world building information, and then we're gonna kind of launch into a little character.
I don't mind having mine first. We did do the whole odds evens thing just before stream went live, so I don't mind going first, unless Cyber specifically wants to go first.
I'm sound, mate. On you go. After you.
You can use the odds evens for something else too.
Let's build up people's expectations with folk that actually know shit about this universe. Then get to me, watch the films like once, and
I need you to know that I don't believe that. I read your backstory and I do not believe that. Anyway.
Listen, Wikipedia is a hell of a thing, okay?
Still counts. Like, hey, if Wikipedia is sourced correctly, I have found some.
Oh no, it was it was specifically the One Ring wiki.
That's perfect. Even better.
So I was like, okay, this is good. I want to learn more about that cunt that looked like Billy Connolly that one time. So I did.
Okay.
Yes, Shammers, you first. Go on your cell.
Well, welcome. Hopefully nothing goes catastrophically wrong. And if it does, it's the boy's fault because I have the brain cell. So it couldn't be me. I couldn't be the problem if I have the brain cell.
Fucking excuse me?
Hi. It couldn't be my fault if I have the brain cell. It means I'm thinking clearly. Anyway, we're gonna get started. Bam. Okay.
Oh.
Welcome aboard. All right. Yeah, I have to be serious now? I can't make jokes? Damn. Anyway.
Oh God, it's a map.
It's a whole map. It has been said over the history of Middle-earth that there have been heroes of all races, of all ages of the world, who have left their mark indelibly on the world in which they live. Names such as Gil-galad, Celebrimbor, Elendil, Isildur, Elrond, all of these names that have legacy and weight and meaning behind them. Names like Thorin Oakenshield, Dane Ironfoot, the Sons of Fundin, each bearing a legacy in their own right. But what do these individuals have in common? When you look at Galadriel and Celeborn and all of these individuals who have lived long and storied lives and done many storied things and led their people into, away from evil and into, peace and goodness. Is the thing they have in common that they tried? Is the thing they have in common that they saw evil and decided to do something about it? Is it that they are beings that possess great powers influenced by great items? The rings of power. That seems to be a thing. Those things used to intended for good and yet used for evil. We all know the poem, One Ring to Rule Them All. One ring to find them, one ring to bring them all, and in the darkness bind them. But it is a truth less known. That at the end of the Third Age, a hobbit from a little-known place in Eriador called the Shire decided that it was his burden to carry the destruction of the last great evil. This decision, made by one individual to bring 8 alongside him into the mouth of evil, has repercussions all across the world. From the uttermost east to the far west of Middle-earth, one hobbit and his 8 companions set out to heal a wound generations old. One set out to reclaim a throne, even though it was not what he wanted. Not at first, anyway. But our journey does not take us along the well-trodden path from Rivendell over the Misty Mountains into Moria and onward to Rohan and Fangorn Forest. Our journey starts in a land of dwarves to the uttermost east, or west, excuse me, in the mountains of Ered Luin. The dwarves that can be found there are hardy folk. They are rugged, most of them the descendants of those who were exiled from Erebor in the aftermath of the initial attack of Smaug the dragon. They are a hardy folk who have made efforts to rebuild their lives after the fall of their kingdom. And when Erebor was reclaimed, there were those who remained in the halls of the dwarves, Thorin's halls, as they have been taken to be called, because it was from there that Thorin Oakenshield established his leadership over the dwarves of Durin's folk. And in those halls, there are libraries, there are, mines, and people who go out and hunt, and all of these things. But our story today brings us to the heart of a dwarven library. This dwarf in particular knows a lot of the lore, knows a lot of dwarven history, but on his back, even as he sits on a bench at a table in this library, reading what appears to be a book of poetry, there is an axe strapped to his back. And those who know this dwarf know that there are 2 sides to him, and that he is as much a scholar as he is a warrior. Shammers, if you could, introduce your character, describe what he looks like, give us the rundown on the guy.
Yes, so sat within this library is a blonde-haired, blue-eyed dwarf. His beard adorned in traditional dwarven beard ties and knots and plaits. Through his armor, there is a blue above his mail armor. You can see the blue of the Blue Mountains, and of the region that he grew up in. He is relatively young for a dwarf, probably the equivalent of sort of late 20s, early 30s in dwarven. What would be late 20s, early 30s in human years for a dwarf. This is Wheelie, son of Dealey. And yes, he is, as described, equal part scholar and equal part scholar and warrior. A battle scholar, if you will. As he sits and reads, he's taking notes in a little pocket notebook almost. Simple but beautifully bound. As he researches to write more poetry of his own, or songs, whatever takes his fancy.
Okay, we're gonna do our first roll of the game. So, love of my real life, can you please roll me an awareness check?
Yes, indeed. Right, so I have 2 pips for that, so that's what, a D12 and 2D6 on top of that.
Sir.
And
if you
certainly,
look at the top of the row, you'll see what your target number is. So in this game, there's not like DCs that are set by the DM. It's like you have a target number. For I believe it is strength is awareness. So
yes,
your strength target number is the number that you are trying to beat on this awareness trek with 1d12 and 2d6.
Yes, so that target number for strength for me is 13. So I'll be. There we go. So what happens if I equal the number?
I have always ruled that it is meets it, beats it.
Okay, so I have rolled exactly 13. My D12 rolled a 5. My D2.
Did you roll any 6s on your D6s?
That is a good question. Yes, I rolled a 6 and a 2.
Okay. So, as you are transcribing this poem or song, or a poem you'll turn into a song into your notebook, the table begins to shake. Now, this library is not built in a place in these halls where there are mines underneath. And as you look around, all of the things in your mind that could be causing this, like a cave-in somewhere or whatever, you are not seeing any outward signs of those things. And you also have noticed that it's very much like the British weather right now, uncharacteristically warm all of a sudden in the room that you are in. All of the other scholars in this room are very perplexed. One of them has her hands over her ears, and it's like, and when someone asks her what's wrong, she says it's because her ears are ringing, like her ears are ringing. There has been a monumental shift in the way the world works in your mind. Like, either something is very, very wrong, or something is very, very right. And as you sort of stand up from where you are and you hear people kind of running around and trying to figure out what's going on, you move towards the door of the library and you see in front of you the very familiar now face of the Lord of Thorn's Halls, Dwalin, son of Fundin, hero of the Company of Thorin Oakenshield, who was sent to Thorn's Halls several years prior to address some political unrest, and he was made the Lord of these lands as a result. And as you see him, he is speaking to a guard, and he whispers in his ear and says, "There's an eagle outside." Can you roll me a lore check, please?
Yes, certainly. Where is lore again? Let's see. Lore.
It's gonna be under wits.
There we go. So I have 2 pips, and this is one that the D&D term I'm familiar with is proficient, but I'm not sure what the.
So in this game, if you look up where your heart score is, you'll see that you have a score, a target number, and it says hope with a number in the box. You can. Yeah. It's just gonna be the middle of your character sheet.
Right in the middle. There's strength, heart, wits.
So yeah, heart is the one you're looking at, and there's like, it has your target number, your heart target number, and then above that is your score, and below that is your hope points.
Oh, yep, I've got 11 of those. Yep.
And so the little pip to the left of your lore scale means that you can spend a hope point to become favored on that roll if you want. So you roll 2d12 instead of 1.
You know, I will do that. There we go. I'm not sure how to get hope points back, but I'm sure we'll cover that at some point. Right, so that's 2 and with law that's 2. So that's a total of 21.
Oh.
The target number was 16.
Oh.
Good God, man.
Hell yeah. So
you find out the eagle's name was Don Henley. And
and
some music joke.
You remember hearing as a child about the great eagles of the Maiar. Names like Gwahir the Windlord, Landroval, these names, these gorgeous creatures created by the Valar, who intercede in Middle-earth only at great need. And you also know that the Lord of Thorns Halls has had interactions with these eagles before. And for him to say that one is there, you know, based on what he told you about how he interacted with them, that it is a moment of great need and of great significance. And so, you know, Lord Dwalin just appears to be telling as many people as he can. And as you're as this is all sort of happening, that ringing in your ear, that ringing in her ears, that one, you know, fellow scholar was talking about, it happens in your ears too. And then all of a sudden, everyone is just trying to figure out, like, okay, there's an eagle here. Also, all of these weird things are happening. Maybe we should go see what the eagle wants. So there are people who are like, you know, you have the elderly who are like, it's just a weird thing about, you know, we live in a mountain. Mountains are weird. And then you have like the youngest of the scholars. So like the apprentices are very eager and very excited to sort of be there and like, oh my gosh, an eagle's here. I want to go see it. See if I can pet its beak. Like kind of that level of enthusiasm. And in that moment, you have a choice to make. You can either go see this eagle and, you know, figure out what's going on, or you can just continue writing poetry in your little book. That choice I leave to you.
Absolutely going to go and see the eagle, because this is going to make for great poems, great stories, maybe some great songs. Yes. So he's absolutely going to go and check out this eagle.
As you emerge from the front gate, you make your way. There are people who are running, but, you know, they appear to be the more, like, enthusiastic youths as opposed to the dwarves who are more used to being cautious and careful. But as you emerge, you cross through this vast hall with a massive statue of who you understand to be Thorin Oakenshield in the middle of this large domed room. And in front of the room, the doors open, and the entirety of the doorway that is not taken up by dwarves trying to see what is going on outside their gates is filled with the massive brown feathered chest of this eagle. There are some people who are visibly afraid of it. There are other people who are visibly in awe of it. And he's just in this big, wide, open plaza. He fills up a large portion of it, and is kind of surprised and yet not by like the influx of people who are coming to treat with him. And a few minutes later, Dwalin returns to the area, and there are several kitchen staff in Thorin's halls behind him with with incredibly large, like, takes a person on each side to carry them, like, dishes of what appears to be food for this eagle. And as they sort of bring it to him, Dwalin then takes a knee in front of him and begins to speak. And he says, "Now, I'm bad at dwarven accents, so I regret to inform you I'm not gonna try that one without hurting myself. But the Lord of Thorn's Halls bends the knee, which anyone who knows him knows that he has not bent the knee to anyone since the death of Thorin Oakenshield. Like, that is an event that revolutionized the way he looked at the world, and his kind of mindset has always been, I have only ever had one king, and he is dead and gone from me, far from here. Dane Ironfoot came to expect, or has come to expect, that whenever he sees his cousin, it's not going to need a bow. He's not going to get treated like a king, even though he is one. But a lot of people, a whisper sort of like ripples out from the crowd, like through the crowd as they watch him do this. And many of the dwarves who are kind of skeptical of this situation also follow him in that action of bending the knee to the what do you call it, eagle. And as this interaction continues, the ground begins to rumble again. And as it does, this eagle, like, lets out a large, like, screeching caw that silences everyone in the area. He says, "I have traveled a great distance to bring you this news. The evil that permeated our world from the very depths of Mordor has been vanquished. The One Ring, the greatest ring of power, Sauron's ring of power, was cast into the fires from which it was forged and destroyed. And as these dwarves who have lived in a place that is so far removed from the direct influence of Sauron the Deceiver, those words might not bear as much weight to the average dwarf, but to you, as a student of history, as a student of lore, like, that hits you like a brick to the chest of, like, this greatest evil has been undone. And how do you think Willie, son of Dealey, is kind of feeling in that moment? How is he reacting to that news, with the understanding of that not all dwarves possess of the more complex history behind what it means, do you think?
Well, initially, before they spoke, he probably would have tried to get not super close, but, like, as close as he could. Mm-hmm. Like, without being seen as impolite or going above his station. But in that moment, he's probably feeling disbelief. He's feeling both shocked and relieved. He's curious as to how it happened. As he'd have known that this ring had immense power and immense, but just based on the history that he's learned of the world and that kind of thing. He'll know just how powerful this ring was. He's probably heard that one ring poem so many times. And so the fact that it's now referring to something that is no longer here, like the gravity of the situation does not move past him. He is shocked and awed and in disbelief, and is just generally very he's usually very good with words, but for the first time that he can remember, he cannot find words to express himself, essentially.
Yeah. He's not the only one either. There is a level of like awe and respect for this creature that has come and delivered this news. But also there are those who, like you, are very interested in the history and like the lore and the information and gathering it as fast as possible. There are people who are, you know, barking questions at this eagle, and they're trying to figure out what's going on. They're trying to like get the information. But with one sort of squawk from the bird, from the eagle, that is silenced. Like that rumble of information, he says, all will be made known to you in its time. But I come also with an invitation for the lord of this keep and those he would consider fit for the journey. There will once more be a king in Gondor, and he has not forgotten the relationship that once existed between the elves and the dwarves and men. He has not forgotten the legacy of the Gwathi Myrdain and the work that they did to assist his ancestors in building their kingdom. And it is his greatest desire to invite you, Lord Dwalin, and as many as you will bring with you, to celebrate the return of the king in Minas Tirith. And you see Dwalin, son of Fundin, normally a very proud man, sort of look up at this creature and sort of stand, his full posture sort of returning. He's no longer bending the knee, he's no longer bowed, he is straight and tall and proud as he has always been. And he accepts the invitation. He accepts the invitation, and it is a moment where all is silent, and like the earth, you're a dwarf, and even if you have not spent your life working with stone, you have spent your life underneath it, and you have learned, as every dwarf learns, male or female, young or old, to be a craftsman or a miner or whatever. They always have known that when the earth shakes because something is settling, or when the earth shakes because something is shaking loose. And in your heart of you, you know that the ground is shaking, that there is this unrest. Not because there's this unrest in the ground, not because something bad is happening, but because something has been made right. And it's almost like the ground underneath you is breathing a sigh of relief. And with this news announced, the trembling stops. It's like that you can tell, you know, and there are other historians who are, you know, looking around you, and when this eagle mentioned the Gwathi Myrdain, the alliance between the elves of Eregion and the dwarves of Khazad-dûm, the deep friendship that was possessed between, Celebrimbor, the greatest of elven smiths, and Narvi, the the cousin of Durin, you know, of Durin the Third, and um, and the greatest stonemason that Khazad-dûm had ever known. That relationship was not often spoken of in the Third Age, because with it came a great deal of pain. From that stemmed the reason why the dwarves and the elves look at each other in less than, as less than friends. And so for that eagle to have mentioned that, they know, the historians of your people know, that this king of Gondor would not view them in that way. And that they were invited to his coronation means a great deal more than just seeing a king return to a kingdom that has not known one for generations. And so you, almost as if in a trance, because how crazy is it that this is a thing that has happened in your lifetime, and how uniquely situated are you to have an understanding of why that is a big deal, right? But as you sort of process what has happened, you feel a large dwarven hand, just like like full on, like not even a subtle bone in it, just like 5-star you in the back. As one of Dwalin's guards kind of yanks you backwards and says, "Be prepared to leave in 3 days." And then he just kind of like knocked the wind out of you, doesn't care. But he has said what he came to say, and he turned around and he left. Is there anything in the next 3 days that that Wheelie would do to prepare for this journey that he has been voluntold that he's going on?
He would he'd probably make sure that he had, obviously there's the standard, make sure he has everything, make sure his axe is nicely sharpened and his armor's well put together, and he'll make sure that his loot is perfectly tuned before leaving. He's decided he's going to try and write something if he can get the information, as a he can't offer much in the way of like gold or sort of congratulatory gifts or that kind of thing, but he is able to write music, he's able to write poetry, he's able to write that kind of thing, so he's going to be running ideas through his head of what he can write, to sort of note this down in history and have this as a song to be passed down the generations potentially, but as a gift to add to the dwarven congregation's gifts to this newly crowned King of Gondor.
Alright. So, we're going to pause here with you. We're going to move over to the halls of Erebor. They are not as jovial as they have been in the past. The kingdoms of the north, Dale, Mirkwood, Erebor, the Iron Hills, have been for weeks upon weeks now besieged by forces of Sauron, who sought a stronghold in the north, specifically Erebor, because of its resources, its money, its craft. And the halls of Erebor, normally so full and vibrant and full of life, dwarven, you had dwarves and men, and yes, even sometimes elves, living and congregating in this space. And all of a sudden, it has gone from a hub of life and goodness to practically what many people are considering could be a tomb, could be their tomb, could be the death of not only these kingdoms in the north, but just, the region as they know it. It comes to the knowledge of the king of Dale, Brand, that the forces of Sauron are pushing against both Lothlorien and Mirkwood, that they are burning the forests, that they are flooding out of the keep known as Dol Guldur into Mirkwood, into Lothlorien, and throwing themselves at the mercy of their enemies in numbers that do not bear comprehending. It came to the knowledge of the king of Erebor, Dane Ironfoot, that there were Easterlings with, exotic mounts, Mumakil, all of these crazy, monstrous to people who don't know them, sort of animals and creatures that are marching on their door, bearing enemies with unknown skill and this sort of evil determination to take what does not belong to them in the name of the Great Deceiver. It is awful, to say the least, because these enemies know that what they have to gain is so... They believe that what they have to gain is so deeply profound and important and meaningful, and they are not willing to do anything other than what is required for them to earn it. And that is nothing short of an act of unpredictable, unwieldy, absolutely terrifying violence. And it has not been but 4 days since the death of Dane Ironfoot, Dane the Second, known as Ironfoot, king of Erebor, after the death of Thorin Oakenshield in the Battle of the Five Armies. And his son, Thorin Stonehelm, had come with the armies from the Iron Hills, not expecting that his birthright, that he would be required to step into his birthright in this way. And most of the soldiers can tell that he is young and he is afraid. And he wears a crown on his head. He knows that his father gave his life in the defense of the King of Dale. Brand was young in his own right, especially young by dwarven years. But it had been a sign of the friendship and the kinship that was shared between the dwarves of Erebor and the men of Dale, that those two kings died fighting back to back with one another. And it is in this sort of somber, borderline hopeless situation that the dwarf known as Farron, footman for Dane Ironfoot, finds himself barricaded behind gates that are not his own, and waiting for an end, either the inevitable end or a miracle. What's he doing? What's he thinking? What's going on in that dwarven mind?
So what you see is what once was flowing auburn hair now has these almost straw-like streaks of grey going through it. It has become sort of matted in places. The sort of big has a large braided beard, but the braid has started to come loose at points, and you can see, like, just all in all, a lot more unkempt than he would like to be in any given moment. And you see him just staring down at this gate, and you can see his knuckles have turned pure white as he grips onto his greatsword for what tiny bit of comfort that might bring him in that moment. And he's just kind of slowly but surely just coming to terms with, like, I might go. I'm going to take some of these fuckers with me. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And he's just stood there waiting for the barrier to break.
And so I'm still learning. And as he sort of is standing there, contemplating whether or not it's his death or theirs, in a similar sort of fashion, if he were to turn around, he would see the most absolutely ragtag bunch of people just doing the same thing. There's a boy who could not be more than 15 or 16 years old by the reckoning of men. There is a woman, a female dwarf, a Dwerodam, carrying in each hand mattocks, pickaxes, things that they use in the mines, like not even like made for war. She's covered in soot and has a cut across her forehead, and there's just blood running down her face. And the noise of the battering ram against stone. The doors have lasted as long as they have because they are stone and not wood. And you know that the people of Dale would not have been so lucky had they been there on their own. And you hear it, and it clangs almost like a cursed sort of gong sound. Bam! Like, boom. And then take some time to reset. Boom. And as your white knuckles are just tightening and tightening to the point where if someone was able to take the sword out of your hand, you would not be able to straighten your fingers. Just like bam, 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 and the ground beneath you begins to shake. Not in a way that like something's gonna come down on top of you, or like that something bad has happened. But if you have any passing familiarity with working in mines, then you know that it is not uncommon for, you know, explosions to happen that shake the ground the way that you feel it shaking. And yet you know no one's been down in the mines since the siege started because they've been fighting. And then you hear a word that instills a level of terror in you that is unlike anything you have ever experienced before. There are still soldiers up on the ramparts that are trying to, you know, shoot arrows down or like throw rocks or interrupt the enemy in any way they can. But there is one thing that no amount of pebbles or like rocks or siege weaponry can really stop. And that is a Nazgul on the back of a fell beast. The Easterlings had run out of time to do this by themselves, and the great deceiver himself had dispatched one of his greatest soldiers to break the siege, not for the people of Arnor or Dale, but for the Dark Lord Sauron himself. And yeah, as soldiers start like pouring in from the ramparts, that banging becomes, and it is accompanied by screeches now, instead of just the sort of almost monotonous rhythmic of the, banging and resetting of the battering ram.
Okay. So at that point, I would turn around and his eyes would immediately fix on the young boy, who I assume at this point is in damn near is like, or at least might be trying to hide it, but is pretty close to hysterics at this point, I would imagine, considering that fucking noise.
Yeah. As you kind of look at his face, you can see that he is just there because if he goes anywhere else, if he tries to do any other thing, like, he will just curl up in a, like, if he doesn't stay where he is, he's just gonna go curl up in a corner, and you might never see or hear from him again. Like, at least this way, he feels that he will die doing something with meaning, as opposed to dying because he was in his mind.
So with that, he's gonna look to his kind of left and right, and with a quick like kind of tap on the shoulder of whoever's next to him, as if to say, like, I'm not going anywhere. He would then walk up to the kid. Can I look him up and down? What's his form like? And like the weapon he's holding, what's he?
So he's got a sword. It would be considered a long sword by dwarven standards, but for him, he's like maybe 5'8", kind of tall, lanky kind of kid.
Okay.
So he's got this sword. It does not appear to be in the best condition, but it's there.
Okay.
And he has strapped to his arm that actually you can tell when you kind of are studying the way his shield is attached that his arm is broken. And that shield being strapped to his arm the way it is the only thing holding the bones together.
Okay.
He has like a buckler like not a buckler, like a round shield that, like, if held in front of him, it covers his entire like torso and like up under his chin, so like his entire the vital bits are protected by this shield that he can barely hold up, but also doesn't take off because he knows it's holding his arm together.
Yeah. So I'll look up and just be like, hey.
Huh?
Come down here for a minute. I'm no shouting.
What?
I said, come down here for a minute. I'm no shouting at you. Come here.
Do you want me to kneel? I'm confused.
Kneel, bend it, whatever's comfortable, son. Just come here, right? Try to help you out, for fuck's sake.
Okay. He kind of takes a single knee, because in the way he's holding his shield up, he knows that if he like puts pressure on it or lets the edge of it rest on the ground, it's just gonna hurt.
Aye.
So he's just kind of like, yes.
Right. I'm not gonna lie to you here and tell you that we're getting out of this with nae hassle, right? But you listen to me now, okay? See these halls, right? See these people around you? they've been through more just pain and heartache than you could ever possibly imagine. And look, they're still standing, aren't they? They're still here. See that thing out there? That's just a story. That's all it is. See us? That's just a story. A story that you are going to tell your wee ones in a couple of years' time. About how you took out a fucking Nazgul or whatever the fuck it is they call it. Right? Right. Look. Seeing all those, so you read, wee man, you read.
Do I read?
Aye, do you read? Good, right. You're getting the big stories about the legends of old, right? Fair few of them are outside the now. Who's the ones that always come out on top?
The good ones?
Is it the... Aye. It's no the big scary fuckers with a point to prove. It's us, alright? It's the wee guys, right? So here's... Right. Stand back up, I'm gonna give you a couple of pointers, right? I ken your arm's broke, but they don't know that, right? So try as best you can, hold the shield like you're actually gonna use it, right? And then he's just gonna go into a few kind of tips and tricks about his stance, try to help him out from the... So that at the very least he's gonna look the part. Even if he won't necessarily do a lot of damage.
Yeah. In theory, this kid knows how to use the things in his hand and strapped to his arm. In theory.
Yeah.
As you look at him, you see that he is wearing the now absolutely destroyed and filthy livery of the House of Dale. You can assume that this kid was either a page or like some sort of person tangentially adjacent to the king's house. And so his form, like when you're like, yeah, you gotta like, he's like, theoretically I know exactly what I'm doing. He falls back into like a very trusted, reliable stance.
Go.
But there is not, unfortunately, anything that stops him from reacting viscerally like how a child would.
Yeah.
When they hear bam, followed by screech, followed by bam, followed by screech. It's just like that inevitable march. Like the march towards the inevitability of like, I can stand here and act tough all I want. But when those Easterlings or that Nazgul get in this mountain, what am I gonna do? I am just a guy, it will eat me for dinner.
Right.
And actually, can I have you roll me
Oh no.
a scan check, please?
Dear God.
Oh, my worst enemy, having to do things.
I believe you have 3 dice in scan, correct?
Yeah,
So
I'm
roll a
yes.
D12 and
So
3 D6s.
right. Okay, D12. Here we go. Don't let me down. Okay, that's an 8.
Okay, yeah.
Right. Okay. So then 3 D6s, yeah.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'm gonna move that 4th one out of the way so it doesn't confuse me.
It's literally me right now.
That like, cause okay, right. Okay, so that's okay, so that's another 5 for
Okay.
13.
Okay, if you look up at the top of the row, what is your
Yeah.
target?
Oh, it's 6. I need to beat 16.
Okay.
So I've got 2 more dice to go.
Okay, yeah.
For scan. So that's a 1.
Okay, oh god, no, Cyber! Ah!
So I need a, so I need a 2 or higher on this last die.
Come on, big money, no whammies.
That is a fucking 6.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so we're gonna introduce a fun mechanic. So when you roll a 6, that means you have what is called but essentially a 6 on a d6 is just like an additional degree of success. So not only have you succeeded, but you've succeeded with some sort of advantage.
Oh shit! So it's like Call of Cthulhu with like the success, grand success.
Yeah,
like,
success,
okay, cool.
Great success,
I like that.
success
Cool.
with, and then like if you roll like a.
Okay.
Yeah. So you.
Does the fact that that one made me shit my pantaloons do anything, or is that just is that just flavor text?
Me is that I'm doing my job correctly. But as Farron sort of looks around, he sees in this mountain. The dwarves have this thing called stone sense, or if they are standing on or near or around stone, specifically, but also this is improved when that stone is dwarven stone, crafted stone. You stand on a parapet that, directly behind you is the throne room. Directly in front of you is, almost a courtyard but underground. This has in the past been an area where all sorts of, dwarven trade, dwarven crafting, the king had been known to come out and among his people in this space. And now, though, it feels like a tomb, but you notice. This is such a strange thing for you to notice, but it looks like when those soldiers came running back in from the parapet, they left the door open. And the sun is rising.
Wait a minute.
And you can see a beam of sunlight shooting from maybe 30 or 40 feet above your head, 50 or 60 feet away from you. And the sunlight comes in this door. And all of a sudden, that sunlight, that is the first you have seen of the sun in months. It almost seemed like with this army that was waylaying you constantly, they brought something with them that blocked it out entirely. But that is actually factually real sunlight shining through that door. And if you look down, you'll see that there's down from the parapet into the building, further down into that courtyard, the great silver fountains of Erebor. This is the room where they live. You grew up hearing about them. You probably knew people who helped build them back in the day. The light catches off of the top part of this fountain. And this time, the screech that you hear is not of a Nazgul, but of an eagle. And the sunlight kind of casts a shadow almost of these two beings kind of rising into the air and beginning to fight one another.
Right, so at that point, I'm just going to put a hand on this boy's back. Just look up to him with the most shit-eating grin on my face you've ever seen. You're in for a treat, son. Right?
And the thudding of the battering ram stops. It wasn't really doing much, to be honest, because what can a wooden battering ram do against gates of 6 foot thick stone? Not much. And you can kind of tell that maybe that was just an attempt by your enemy to instill fear of we can't get you, but we're coming and we're here, as opposed to being any sort of meaningful measure of getting into the mountain. But your eyes are drawn back up to this shadow, and through the door, you hear, you kind of see something fall onto the parapet, and then it just kind of thumps all the way down the stairs into this room that you are in. And as you watch this happen, as this young boy standing next to you watches what happens, as all of the dwarves who are around you, able-bodied and also not, because there's like a medic area nearby, a hospital nearby, that people who have no business trying to get up on their feet are getting up on their feet to try and like witness what is happening. And the woman who was there before, who's kind of like white knuckle gripping those pickaxes, she kind of hobbles over to you and says, What is that? That just fell.
Your guess is as good as mine. What do you reckon, wee man?
He kind of just like... The pain, like, the adrenaline is unfortunately wearing off. And so this kid is in pain with a capital P. And he doesn't really register anything that you are saying. But his eyes are, like, glued on the sunlight. His, like, 16-year-old face is, like, so deeply... has not seen the sun in the same amount of months as everyone else. And is just, like, enraptured by it. And he watches this thing fall down the stairs. He watches as these dwarves underneath you take a sword. You know, there's this one guy who's like literally missing a leg, picks up someone's axe from within arm's reach of him and just throws it at this thing falling down the stairs, not knowing if it's an enemy or a friend. But when it... Actually, I'm gonna see if it hits. Let's see if it hits. What's your strength target number? 12, right?
Mine's 12, yeah.
Alright.
Let's see if we've got Phil the Power Taylor just chilling at the back.
Okay, 6 plus 5 is 11, plus 1 is 12, plus 5 is 17. So, yeah. He just kind of...
Okay, right.
He just kind of says... Like, he kind of lets out this guttural, like, look out! And he picks up the hand axe. He actually, you kind of watch, he doesn't just pick it up, he pulls it off of someone's belt. Like, some poor, like, healer is like, what on earth? And he just throws it. And you hear, for the last time, this, like, feral-sounding screech. It's not the eagle, and it's not the fell beast. It is something else entirely. That axe lands. Like, you have seen this theoretically happen where, like, on a practice dummy, when someone hits the head of it, dead center. And this axe embeds into metal that then crumples like a tin can under deep pressure. And then all that is left is just this robe falls to the ground. It's black, kind of tattered fabric, falls to the ground. And...
No.
And there is nothing left of that enemy.
Who threw that?
And everyone's just like stunned in silence. They're just like, what just happened? And then you hear, all of a sudden, all of the enemies that are outside the mountain are running away. A man runs up on the parapet and sees elves. Not just Mirkwood elves, but also elves of Lothlorien. And this eagle, this massive fuck-off eagle, just taking up space, chasing things, literally pulling riders off of Mamakill and throwing them across the field. Like, this is all nothing like how you expected that would end for you. And it's crazy. It's crazy with a capital C, when you just watch that happen. And sudden, it's like the weight of the world falls off your shoulders. The ground underneath your feet feels more stable, feels like it's going to be there for longer than just today. It feels like some sort of thing has come back into balance for you. That like all of that fear, all of that dread, all of that everything, gone. Just like the world has changed in a way that you're not even sure what it is yet. And even if you did know what it was, you're not sure that you'd know. Like, but you can feel it in your bones. Like in the depth of your, like, in your marrow, as they say, because your bone marrow is deeper than your bones, actually. And so it's just like something has settled in your body and in your brain that whatever the hell that was, that made the way for the elves and the eagle to come, that enemy stands no chance. And hell, if you wanted to, you could go out and fucking rout him if you wanted. If you wanted to dip your toes back into that fight, you absolutely could, but no one's saying that you have to. Everyone's just breathing a collective sigh of, holy fuck, I can breathe again, sort of, yeah, as that happens, that little teenage page boy, like, falls to his knees, and the shield kind of presses up into his broken arm, because he kind of lets his arms fall down by his side, almost forgetting about it. And, like, he's just kind of, like, looking up at you, and then around at the room, and then up at you, and then back down around at the room. And it's just like some sort of knot in him has come untied, and he's just, he passes out. He's just...
Right, as soon as he passes out, I'm shouting for a medic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A young dwarven woman runs over to you. You recognize this woman as the betrothed of the new king of Erebor, Thorin Stonehelm. You know that her name is Dadney, and she is just going off of muscle memory at this point. She's checking his pulse. She's removing the armor, taking the sword and throwing it away. And as she looks at you,
all right,
all she can say is like, what happened? Who is this? Does he have family? Is there a person I need to find? She's just asking all of these questions that she's been asking for weeks.
Yes, I'll answer where I can. I'll just like he didn't say his name. He didn't even say his name. He's just a wee boy. He's just a wee boy. And that arm's fucked.
You know, not the first person that has said that to me today.
And it's just kind of looks at, and then he realizes that he's said that and immediately a hand goes to his mouth and just goes, "Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, that's no okay." So and it takes it.
I was raised in the house of Fundin. I am not unused to profane language. You can say whatever you'd like. And I'm not a princess yet. Or I'm not a... And as she said, she's not a princess yet. It, like, kind of hits her in the stomach a little bit. And her face just goes white. She's like, oh. Like, she realizes, like, she's never gonna be a princess because she's going to be queen. And that just was not a thing that crossed her mind at all. As she...
Immediately, he's gonna just look up and be like, can I get a hand shift in the boy?
Yeah.
Sorry. I didn't mean to.
You've not done anything wrong. It's been a long few days, and just trying to make the best of them.
Aye. Sorry, the big you said used to say I was born with my foot in my mouth, and it wasn't far wrong.
Look, there are worse places for a foot to be in someone's body, is all I'm saying. So, yeah. She is completely unbothered by any of the things that you have said, by the way. She's just like... Dwalin, son of Fundin, was my caretaker until he moved to Eredlun. So again, I am not... This is not a problem. As for moving him, there's really not a place we can move him to. Except at this point, out of the way. We have
I like that idea.
blankets and bedrolls and everything is full. Like we have started using cloaks as pillows. That is where we're at. In terms of bed. But if there is I'm sure we can get we have a stretcher? Yes, that's what that's called. If you're okay, she kind of points at his hands still, and she kind of sees that, like, he's tight-knuckled the sword still, like he hasn't let go of it, and so she kind of will, reach over and, like, try and grab his wrist, not his waist, and, like, kind of, there's a nerve in your wrist that, like, when you apply pressure to it, it loosens your grip. And so she's just trying to get you to, like, get the blood flow back in there so she doesn't have to cut your hand off later. You know what I mean?
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah. Sorry, that's not usually my first method for that, but you've been standing there for a while, and you might want to move your fingers a little bit. It's probably going to be a little bit stiff.
Aye, good idea. So he's going to take he's going to remove one, use the kind of axe to kind of like lean on a little bit. Remove one of his hands, just kind of do a quick, like, move his fingers around, be like, please still work, please still work, please still work. Oh, okay, right, other hand. Please work, please work, please work, please work. Hey, there we go.
And so, as you sort of are working on that, Princess Queen, soon to be Dagny, is very much so distracted when she hears someone yell from in the back of this kind of hospital area, that someone is saying that the king needs assistance. Someone is saying that the king needs young Thorin as opposed to Dane Ironfoot. She hears someone say that, and it, like, her eyes, like, widen and then fill with tears as she just kind of pats you on the shoulder and says, I'll send someone else, I have to go. And she just...
Go on, it's alright, I've got the boy. Go, go.
And as she does, there are two dwarves who come to meet her that look very similar to her and could be assumed, but there is some familiar relation. And then as they kind of grab her and kind of move her along, two other dwarves kind of come and bring a stretcher, and they're able to, like, they unstrap the shield from the guy's arm, and, like, they see how mangled it is, and they're like, oh, he could potentially lose that. They're just, like, having doctor conversation between each other and, like, trying to, like, get this guy settled. And then, like, all of a sudden, for the first time in what feels like years, you hear the telltale sign of a bell tolling in the mountain. The last time that bell tolled was when, like, before the siege, it was essentially Erebor's way of saying, hey, if you're in Dale, get here. But you also have learned over the course of the siege that the next time the bell would ring would be when the siege was broken. And that is just a revolutionary thing. There are so many people who all of a sudden, it goes from, like, deathly quiet to, like, the kind of cheer only dwarves are capable of. Like, it is loud, it is metal, like, axes clanging on shields and armor, just, like, it is loud, it is raucous, and everyone finally realizes that, like, whatever the fuck just happened on that battlefield out there, we're free. And, like, that's crazy. And that goes on for like the whole night. And you see all kinds of people, men, elves, dwarves, all kinds of people. You're pretty sure you see the Lord of Lothlorien, Celeborn. Long, like waist-length blonde hair, braided down his back, wearing this almost beautiful, like, you can tell just by looking at it that parts of it are mithril, so it's old. And you're just like, this guy is in my home. That's weird.
Jeez, oh.
And he approaches there's kind of a banquet that has happened, and he approaches the high table where Thorin Stonehelm and Dagny and you know, the lords of the city or the lords of Erebor are sat. And he whispers in Thorin's ears, and then he stands back with a smile on his face. And without a care or a thought for the fact that his ankles are broken, plural, Thorin Stonehelm
Jesus
climbs up onto the table that he was previously eating at and lets out.
Would I have heard that his ankles were broken when I see him doing this?
I mean, it's not hard to tell the way they're wrapped up. Like, not hard to tell at all.
Okay, at that point, I'm just like pure evil looking at him, just like, what are you doing? Get down, you dafty. What is the matter with you?
He looks over at you and laughs because like he knows you from when you know, he was the Lord of the Iron Hills and all this stuff. And he's like, I'll get down once I share my news. And he kind of like, and you see like Dagny knows there's no stopping him when he sets his mind on something, so he's just kind of like there. She's like got a hand up so that like if he falls backwards, at least somebody can say they tried to catch him, you know, like that sort of thing. And as he sort of climbs up, he just excitedly yells, like, Sauron is gone. Like, Celeborn obviously gave him more context than that, but like all he can think to say is just, he's gone. And it's just like, again, that moment of like, everything falls quiet because you're like, did I hear that right? Is that what that is? Does that mean what I think it means? And then all of a sudden, like, just again, that like raucous, like, sort of energy to the table. And all of a sudden it goes from already being a party to being more of a party. And it's just one of those things that like, you will look back on this later in your life and be like, that is insane. Like, that is the thing that happened, and I got to be part of it. But over the course of the next few days, the festivities die down, the elves return home. The men of Dale don't really have a city to go back to currently, because it was definitely laid waste to devastation.
So just as one like little like story beat, while that while that kind of the sort of feast is ongoing, at one point during that, Farron would have kind of left the festivities to go and find wherever the Dane had been laid to rest over the course of that, or wherever Dane had been held in the process of, say, putting him to rest. And he would have just sat there while the sort of the faint sounds of the sort of music and laughter and all that go on in the background. He would just be sat with his king.
Yeah. So he had not been properly interred in the he has a tomb sort of way, but his family, so it was Dagny and his wife Feyre, all took the time and were extra intentional about preparing his body for that. They knew that it wouldn't necessarily be possible until after the siege was over. But his body sort of lays in state, where his tomb will inevitably be built. And you see him kind of arrayed in his splendor, like red hair, and his helm, his armor, like his helm is tucked under his arm, and in his hand, like across his chest, there is an axe in one hand and a boar tusk in the other. And it just kind of, people used to joke that like he slept with his weapons and that kind of thing, and if you didn't know better, you kind of could imagine that was what he was doing. And a very cold, very a very sort of bovine snout pushes up against the back of your leg, and you turn and you see like his most trusted, your king's most like trusted companion, sort of looking up at you like she was waiting for you to come, and you can tell see that one of her tusks is actually missing, so you can assume that the tusk in Dane's hand was actually one of hers.
So I would just reach out and just put a hand on top of her head and just give her a wee scritch it, as you would. And just kind of listen just for that.
Yeah, and that's the thing you had seen Dane do a number of times, right? Like obviously you spent enough time around the King of Maribor that like you knew like kind of the way that he respected and loved these animals, and she kind of nozzles against your hand, and it's very rare that you saw this creature without like her saddle and her own like barding and armor that she wore. And as you kind of look her over, you can kind of tell that she's not necessarily in the best shape herself. They've done what they can for her, but like there's a part of that little lady, that the little battle boar there, that does not know what it is like to live without the person who took care of her entire life. And it's almost like when she looks up at you, she like leans into the scritches a little bit. She's kind of asking you what to do. Like you can see in her little face that she's like, what will I say? She's actually quite massive.
It's fucking huge.
But in those eyes that are normally like so intense and so like much like Dane himself was in life, there's just nothing there. She's just like, I keep trying to wake her, like she keeps like pressing her nose into his hands trying to wake him up, and he's not moving, and she's like, I don't know what that means, but I don't like it. It's almost very like dog-like of her when she's just like, what do I do? Where do I go?
Oh, go on.
and sad pig noises.
It would just kind of laugh to himself and just put, I don't know either.
And as
wish
you
I did.
Sort of are, like this is kind of where you are. Like he's kind of lying in state in this sort of tomb-like area. And as this kind of happens, that fact that like you don't know where you're going. Listen here, Shammers. Sad pig noises. Look, I am not a sound effects girly. Okay, I am a can do some voices girly. Okay.
Sound effects girly. That is fucking mint.
Look, I'm not a Foley girly. I'm a VO girly. Okay.
Not a Foley. Yes, there we go.
Anyway. Rivers is like, you did the sound effects then.
Foley, son of Mick. Anyway, how you?
Amazing. But you just kind of sit there, and you hear celebrating the best they can in an unfortunate situation. And you sit there in the silence and you feel like there's a piece of you that's missing in a way that you don't know how to recover. But as you kind of come to that realization, you also realize that if you're going to figure out what to do next, you can't stay here. And you had overheard a few of the elves, specifically Lord Celeborn, talking about how the Galadrim, the elves, some elves of the Galadrim and of Rivendell were going to be heading to Gondor soon to celebrate the reclamation of Gondor by its rightful king, to celebrate the marriage of one of their own to that king. You had heard from Gloin that his son Gimli was in Minas Tirith, had been sent on this errand to destroy the ring. And you're like, maybe I can go start in Minas Tirith. Maybe I can go witness this moment of history and sort of rebuild my life around it. And you look down at your little bovine companion. I mean little in the spiritual sense, not the in the spiritual sense, not the literal sense. And you kind of feel in your heart that maybe she was supposed to go with you. That this sad, sweet little girl was looking for a place to go as well. And so with that decision sort of made, you talk to Stonehelm about adopting his father's boar, and the new king sort of regales you with the fact that he didn't quite know what to do with her either, and was really glad that you came up with a solution that wasn't a bad one. And so he kind of releases her into your care, and when there is another sort of smaller delegation that is also going to Minas Tirith for the coronation of the king, and you sort of link up with them, and you also sort of set off on the road towards Gondor, towards Minas Tirith. But yeah, there's one more thing. I know we don't have a lot of time. It's what, almost 11 where you are? Jesus.
Almost 10. It's 20 to 10 ish,
right.
give or take.
Time zones are real. There is one more thing I wanted to do that involves both of you, even though you're in different places. You're going to the same place. But you have each set out on your journeys towards the White City. One, because you were voluntold by the Lord of your homestead, and the other because you are looking for new meaning in life. And both of you, alongside some others that you are traveling with, have a dream. Can I have Wheelie, son of Daly, roll me a lore roll, please? And then
a laurel, certainly.
Lore roll for you, and then a actually, is your lore higher or your song?
Sorry, go on. Sorry, I thought you were talking to me. It's all good.
No, I was talking to Shammers.
My song is high.
Okay, so roll song for you, and then insight for Farron, please.
Sweet. Okay.
So that is a grand total of 20 for Wheelie, son of Daly.
And a grand total of 6 for.
Oh no!
I rolled a 4 on the 12 and a 2 on the 6.
Oh, that's horrifying.
I was gonna fuck up at some point. Might as well be right before we finish.
You both. Ain't that just the way? Sorry, I put a cracker in my mouth for some reason. That was a bad idea, everyone. But
Alright, that's me. I'm the cracker. I mean, sorry, what?
See, guys, I actually moved to Wales a long time ago, and Shammers and I are in the same room. Just kidding. I wish, but alas, nay. But as you are sort of traveling, you sort of hit a point, Wheelie, when your party starts crossing through the region of the map known as Aregion. So you're over here. You'll see this Redhorn Pass sort of area right here is a very easy way to cross over the Misty Mountains to get to the next step on your journey. However, several historians among you, because Dwalin was like, I'm not just bringing warriors, I'm bringing book smart people too, so they'll write this shit down. Dwalin, son of Fundin, third age, whatever year it is. But as you sort of are crossing through this area, a lot of the dwarves that you are traveling with have an understanding of like where you are, because where you are and where you are currently is you are just north of Moria in the Misty Mountains. So you're just north of Khazad-dûm, the storied place of your people. And as you climb up and over the peak of Karadras, also known as the Redhorn Pass, you are able to kind of look down and you see what was once in its era this beautiful dwarven city. And as you take your rest that night, you have a dream. We'll get to the contents of the dream here in a moment. And
I dreamed a dream in time gone by.
Copyright strike. Let's not go there. But for you, Farron, as you approach from a different location. Kind of, it's not on this map. I need to find a better one. But Erebor is like up here, and you have to go south into Rohan before you can go more east towards Gondor. And as you are traveling, there is the delegation from Erebor, the delegation from Dale kind of merges with, you know, a small delegation from the Woodland Realm and a relatively large, actually, delegation from Lothlorien. You are traveling through, you know, down this river. You know, a lot of your trip has kind of been by boat, but then you kind of get off the boats because you can't be in them anymore because you have more people. And as you are kind of making your way towards a city called Edoras, in Rohan, about 3 days outside of Edoras, at a place called Helm's Deep, you and the other dwarves actually come across some dwarves from the White Mountains, which are the kind of border the bottom of Gondor, who had been sent there by Gimli to settle a place called Aglarond, the glittering caves of Aglarond, and you are kind of shown around this beautiful, gorgeous sort of place that is going to be the next kind of settlement for the dwarves of Durin's folk who choose it. And as you sort of lay your head down in a makeshift bed for the first time in a long time, that's not just on a bedroll in the dirt, you also begin to have this dream. And you rolled a 21 on your lore check, Shammers?
On my song check, yes.
On your song check. Okay. You begin to hear in your head a song. It is in a language that you do not know how to translate, but you can identify it when you hear it. And it is in one of the Elven languages. And this song speaks of, it is a song that you have kind of recognized in reading kind of like the old, literature of Lindon, materials that had survived the fall of Ostenethel and all of these things that you have kind of been able to get your hands on over the years. It is the song of Elendil, when he, after the fall of Numenor, when he arrived in Middle-earth, says, out of the deep sea to Middle-earth I am come. You hear this song in your head, and like me and all of my ancestors, like myself and my ancestors will, make this place our home and rule over it until, time everlasting, essentially. You've seen translations, so like your brain sort of registers that is what the words mean, but as you both are like comprehending this, you see a white city. But you both have enough of an understanding of what Minas Tirith looks like to know that it is not Minas Tirith. It is a city equally as grand, equally as beautiful, but it's not in the east. It is in the west. It sits on the southern edge, of a great lake. And you can see, sort of almost as if you're flying over it, that there is this massive city. And then across the lake, there's an island on which there's a big keep. You can kind of see that there are people who are milling around there. But then almost as soon as the dream begins, you're like, oh, this is nice. It's like almost idyllic. It's like almost as if like a dome was unfolding over the top of it. The sky turns from this beautiful blue to this like sickly, the only way I can think of to describe it is actually just like vomit green. Like the sky goes from blue to this color that is so like deeply unsettling that your immediate assumption is that something is wrong, and you are correct. And Farron, you hear as if almost from the very worst of your nightmares, like that screeching sound of the fell beast, of what you can't see it, you don't know if it is for sure, but it's very reminiscent of a fell beast. The ground begins to shake in a way that says, instead of it being like, the ground is settling, things are better, this is good, it's bad. And it's just almost as if like this blanket of darkness is washing itself over this place as you kind of have this dream, there's something in your heart that says, yes, continue to go to Minas Tirith, like go west, celebrate with your people in this, this start of a new age of Middle-earth. But there's something in your brain that's like, you have to figure out where that is and go there as well. Because the great enemy may be defeated, but there are still lesser ones that he propped up, that he created, that will test the strength of the free folk, the free people of Middle-earth. And you hear a distinct voice in your head that sounds both dwarven, like deeply dwarven, and also deeply like beautiful almost. Like there's a hint of like, there's like an edge of otherworldliness to it. There we go, that's a good way to describe it. And as you kind of hear that voice in your head, and all it says is, seek the lands in the north, for there your destiny lies. And as you kind of hear that like green sort of ichory grossness that had overtaken the sky that you were looking at kind of fades away, and the sky goes back to its normal color, and it almost is like it's pushing that like that if the green was kind of like a dome, there's like a second, smaller dome kind of underneath it that is working almost as a force against it to try and, like, push it away. And so it's kind of like, in your mind, you can kind of interpret it as, like, okay, that is, like, a visual representation of, like, what happens when good pushes back evil. And, it's a weird dream for two dwarves on different sides of the world to be having, but, you wake up, you know, Wheelie overlooking Khazad-dûm, Farron in the heart of Aglarond, with this understanding of, like, oh, my life, I'm gonna go to Minas Tirith, like, we're going, I really don't have a choice in the matter, can't turn back now, but what is this place? What is this second sort of, there's another white city somewhere in the world, that we also kind of have to go to, and figure out how to help there. And so, yeah, you both kind of wake up. If either of you has a specific reaction to that you'd like to express, I would love to hear it.
Just vague confusion of what what in the name of God is going on here. Right, okay. But sort of look around for his newfound boar companion.
She?
Yes.
You're in, like, a small room.
Mm-hmm.
If she tried to be in it with you, there wouldn't be room for the both of you because she is
fair.
large and,
fair. Yeah. She large.
She got her own room.
Yeah.
Essentially, and
She get the suite. And
No. So essentially, they kind of made her a little, like, bed of hay, like a little stable or whatever, like a stable type thing, so that, like, she can be close to you, but also kind of not in the same space because the geometry was not working to make that a thing that happen.
Fair.
And she sort of is, gosh, this is a very dog-like battle boar. I need you to know this. She kind of is asleep, and her little legs and arms are a little bit, like, splooted out in front of her, and her head, her, like, back leg, yeah, she literally is just full sploot. And
fantastic.
Her hands, or her forelegs, I guess, her front legs, she kind of has, like, her little hooves are facing in, and she's, like, covering her eyes. Eyes, as, like, a little, like, she maybe got herself into a little bit of a pickle, though, because one of her tusks was cut off, but the other hoof is, like, caught kind of in between the tusk and the rest of her face. So she might not have the easiest time getting up if she does not correct that first. But she's zonked the fuck out. It's the middle of the night. What are you doing awake, new dad? Like.
Yeah. Fair. So would just look over, wouldn't, like, try to wake her up or anything like that. Would just look over and just a wee smile, and just would mutter to himself. I was just, guess I know where we're going.
Hell yes. Hell yes. All right. What about you? What about you, my favorite dwarven bookworm?
So, Wheelie would wake up equally confused, drawing similar conclusions, and kind of goes, right, well, just in case this becomes important at some point, where did I put my ink? Where did I? It's in my satchel here somewhere. I've got a quill somewhere. Where the fuck's it gone? Oh, you bastard! I've left my lucky one at home. Shit.
You hear from a little bit behind you. the bleeding of goats. You and your companions have traveled from the Blue Mountains across on these goats. And one of them is very insistently stamping his feet like he's unsettled by something. And you recognize this particularly stubborn little guy as your little guy. Would you like to share with the class what his name is? Because I certainly won't be.
So
For
he looks
reasons
over
that I'll
to
tell
the-
you in a minute, chat.
So he'll look over to these goats and kind of, I'll write this down in a moment. Topsy, insane bastard, the fuck are you doing? Come here. He'll sort of wander over and try and calm his bleating companion down a little bit. Topsy the giant rideable goat.
Yeah, he big and also horny. So do with that
Hey,
information
yo.
what you will. I'd say I need to stop hanging out with my LARP friends so much, but that's a bald-faced lie. So here we are. Essentially, he looks up and he sees you and he like stamps his hooves, and like to anyone who doesn't know, this animal is like, oh, he's about to pick a fight with somebody. Like, this guy's about to get angry. That's not what happens. He kind of runs over and he like butts his head into Wheely's chest. Almost as if like something had occurred that was like deeply unsettling to him. But like he can't speak to what it is because he's a piggy. Can y'all still hear me? Sorry, my
Is I thought he was a goat. That's
Oh, he's a goat. You're right. You're right.
Cyber's got the piggy. I've got Billy Goat Gruff. That's
Yeah. No, you've got Billy Goat Topsy, okay? Like, if you're gonna
Billy
you're
Goat
gonna
Topsy.
name your goat by roasting me, just do it do it honestly or not at all, is all I'm saying.
Of course.
But as you sort of, he's kind of like butting his head against you, he's like sad, confused goat noises. I'm not a sound effects girly. Do not come for me in the chat.
Some pig noises.
Do you want the
Confused goat noises.
Do you want the noise of a confused goat?
Go for it.
Ah!
Yes. Apologies to all the headphone users.
I hope I got at least. I hope I got at least one of you to jump out of your fucking skin. Then I will be a happy man.
What you were gonna do, so I took my headphones off because I care about my ears. But
What's that like?
oh, be you, could it?
Yes. But yeah, seeing the butt coming, he'll sort of brace himself a little bit, knowing it's usually a relatively solid butt, like not enough usually to knock him over, but there's been a couple times that it has. So he just instinctually braces himself.
Yeah.
Before sort of cuddling in a little bit and trying to comfort them.
As this happens, one of the there had been an individual who, as you were crossing through Breland, added herself, sort of asked if she could travel along with you. She's a young woman, and not a lot of people knew her name. She's not very forward with that information, but as you are sitting there, she is also awake. And she's kind of sitting, she's kind of found a ledge kind of on the far edge of this area where you guys set up camp, and is kind of sitting there with her legs dangling over the edge. Her name, you don't know what it is because she didn't tell you. The only two people who really know any of that information are Dwalin, who's the leader of your sort of expedition, and you know, the people who are close to him. But she sort of is just traveling with you, I guess, as a way to kind of get where, because she's also going to Ministerial. But she's just kind of traveling with you as a way to get there without having to travel alone.
He'll sort of continuing trying to comfort his goat companion. I can't remember. I was trying to think of the goat equivalent of bovine for cows, but
It's not Ursuline. It's I should know this. I don't.
Yep, that's fine. So as he's comforting Topsy, he'll look over, notice she's also awake, and
yeah, she senses him behind her, and she kind of like turns her head around and like waves at you, but doesn't really say anything, unless she. Well, let me rephrase. The only thing she says is, I never understood how you all ride on goats. They seem so, I don't know, unwieldy. Especially at that size.
I never understood how most folk can ride on ponies or horses. Seem, well, unwieldy, to use your word. I'm Wheelie, by the way. To whom do I have the honor of discourse today?
She kind of looks at him and chuckles. You haven't asked any of your dwarven companions what my name is. They all seems to be all they can talk about.
Well, I know it's not always a dwarven custom, but I am rather fond of polite conversation.
I mean, so are the others. I haven't been bowed at and been told someone's at my service so many times as I have among the dwarves. But, my name is, Ithel Deerwin. You can just call me Ithil, if that helps.
Ithil it is. I'll try my best to learn your true name at some point. But for the purposes of this, Ithil will be fine.
I am hoping to reunite with some of my fellows in Minas Tirith.
Oh, and who might they be?
You ever heard of the Dunedain?
I am passingly familiar.
A number of my kin traveled south to help our leader Aragorn reclaim his throne.
Ah, yes, that is, well, hopefully, all of them will have returned in one piece. It is... I do not know much of what happened. Not a great deal has been shared with the Blue Mountains. We were fortunate enough to avoid the majority of the conflict.
It would make you... hopefully it makes you feel better to know then that we don't know what happened either. And our chieftain was at the heart of it. That is what we're going to Minas Tirith to find out. At least
yes, from what... Yeah. Yes. This... Although, from what little I know, he's not... Your chieftain is... not his only title.
He's got like
and he's added a new one to his long list of illustrious titles.
I believe he's got how many now? Chieftain of the well, he's got names, so Elisar, Talcantar the Second, the Elfstone, what else? High King of Gondor and Arnor, Chieftain of the Dunedain. I could go on. His name fills up pages at this point.
I believe so. It has made writing this ballad a little more difficult. But hey, he's quite the travel gentleman, to put it lightly.
Those who have the blood of blah blah blah. Rewind, starting over. Those
the blood of the blah blah blah.
I hate you both. Anyway, I don't.
The fuck did I do?
I think you're guilty by association, mate. I'm sorry.
I'm just chilling out here, enjoying the storytelling,
okay.
being happy to be a part of Middle Earth, and then next thing you know, I'm getting pelters. The fuck's happened?
Anyway, I'm sure that the one name he would prefer to be called by over all others is the first name he ever had. It was Aragorn. That is how we know him. That is how he knows us.
I shall use that one in my ballad. So I was not sure if Elisar would be better show proper reverence to the true king of Gondor, but if Aragorn is his preferred name of choice, I shall use that in my ballad instead.
If he's anything like how we'd remember him being, he was resistant to becoming king until Lord Elrond made that into an ultimatum. Much can be said about the Lord of the last homely house, but he knows how to bring out the best in people, even when they don't see it in themselves.
Yes, I have heard very similar things in the tales of Elrond Half-Elven.
She sort of chuckles and looks at him. Says, "It would appear there are two great epics being written at once, Master Wheelie. One is of the destruction of the ring. The other is on the reclamation of all that it took."
Yes, quite. Yes, I will hopefully be able to put some of my own work in contribution to such an epic feat. However, whether it gets accepted or not is a very different, very different forge of fish. But forge of
sorry.
No, you're okay. History is a strange thing. As are words, apparently.
History is also permanent. So, people can accept it or not all they want, but that doesn't make it any less real or true.
That is fair. It is also written by the victors, so I count myself among the lucky to be on the victorious side in this.
I was going to say, the free folk are nothing if not victorious in this. And from what little I do know about what happened, I will say that it's the most unexpected of all of the free folk. Do you know much of the Shire folk?
Passing tales. Aye, passing tales and what has been recorded of the Baggins saga, where I suppose, the Baggins saga with the with the party of the Oakenshield party. I cannot. Sorry, I was awoken by a rather odd dream. Words are failing me at the moment, but...
What was the dream?
'Twas a white city. Not Minas Tirith, but seemed to be further west. Perhaps the Undying Lands. Started beautifully. Blue skies, paradise. It was overtaken, not by forces or people, but by an ominous green, sickly green almost, sky. I think there are there are still odd things afoot. Perhaps not as threatening as the Dark Lord, but maybe lesser, but still troubling enemies to deal with.
She looks at him and sort of studies his face a little bit. Alright. Oh, hell yeah. I just rolled to see. So she passes an insight check against you, Wheelie, and I was wondering what she might see on your face or in your expression as a result.
She sees concern. She sees it's a bit of concern, a bit of what's the word I'm looking for? Sort of almost a want to help, if not in part to be able to correctly write the happenings of such a tale down for future generations. She sees a lot of a want to help, a want to play his part. Maybe a little bit of sort of, well, the heroes themselves need a rest. I'm happy to just help where I can and play my part, kind of thing that she can read on him.
She kind of leans forward and like kneels down, kind of drawing in the dirt kind of at your feet a map. She says, I had a very similar dream. Woken me up, but your belief that it is the Undying Lands is incorrect. You actually, on your way towards Breland, skirted the border of Lake Nenua in Evendon. At the southern tip of that lake is where this white city rests. It was the capital, the original capital of the kingdom of Arnor, that was ruled by Isildur and his brother Anarion, until the fall of Isildur in the Battle of the Last Alliance. And then the great men of Anúminas were chased out by forces of Sauron, and they made their capital in Fornost until the fall of northern Arnor to Angmar, and the division of the kingdom of Arnor into 4 kingdoms instead of just 1. I know this for certain because I was born in Evendon, and I am a ranger there. I have not returned home for a great many years, much to my kin's great chagrin. But my chieftain gave me a task, and I, in returning to Minas Tirith, will see it done. So perhaps we can travel to Evenden together.
Hey, I'd say that's agreeable. Hey. Yes. I accept your proposal. Once we've celebrated this continuing of the throne of Gondor and the victory that was so hard won. We will travel. There are many stories to be told, many stories to be recorded.
Many battles to be fought as well, Master Dwarf. Is that something you're prepared for?
Aye. It's about time my axe tasted some more blood.
She will pull out of her... She has some, like, food stuffs that she kind of has for herself. Like, could be inferred this girl is pretty snackish, not gonna lie. But she pulls a carrot out and holds it out towards Topsy. And sort of like wiggles her fingers to see if it gets his attention.
Absolutely does. Topsy will basically inhale it, and there's a few crunches as he sort of munches, but practically inhales the carrot.
She kind of chuckles and lets him have it, obviously, before looking at him. So, we have an accord then, Master Dwarf. That is good. Maybe there are others who had this dream, just as we did.
Perhaps. We'll have to wait and see. But a rushed forge bends the blade. So too does haste break wisdom. We'll need to try and find others, but patience is a virtue.
The other of my kin in Evenden have spent their lives pushing back the darkness that threatens it. With the death of Sauron, one could hope that they would be less bold, not more, considering the great evil that empowered them has been destroyed. But if we know anything of those from Angmar, of those from the northern wastes, it's that they take what they want, and they will find ways to do it regardless. My kin have spent their lives training and becoming better at pushing them back, but there is only so much that we can do alone. The Rangers of the Dunedain are a dying breed, so to speak. And already our paths are stretched thin. So any outside help we could get would be more than beneficial.
Aye. Will you have the help of a dwarf? That should bolster your ranks. We're not natural sprinters, but we'll do. I'll be sure I'll do fine.
Motherfucker. I love you so much. And as she turns towards the west, the sun is rising. It is beautiful. You can tell that she sort of sits on this ledge with a level of comfort indicative of a person who has done things like that her entire life. And you kind of see her smile, but she doesn't turn back to face you or continue the conversation in any way, other than her kind of turning away to face the sun is her being like, okay, I'm done. I don't need to talk to you right now anymore, sort of thing. But,
He'll nod and return to Topsy in and sort of make sure that Topsy's comfortable, sat down a bit more chill than they were earlier, before collecting up his notebook and something to write in it, and just cuddles up, sort of snuggles into Topsy as he begins to write, and starts noting down certain things.
Yeah. And the sun rises, and the dwarves kind of wake. Dwalin is the oldest among you and the most grumpy at being awake with the sun. But as you break camp and you make your way down the other side of the Misty Mountains, you find yourself walking along the banks of the Anduin River, farther away from home than you have ever been. And with that, we're calling it for the day, y'all. I'm really bad at endings. Anybody who knows me knows that. I'm doing my best. But, oh my gosh, hang on a second. We're just gonna do this real quick. Hey, look at that. We did it. We survived, and it was only mildly embarrassing.
We did a thing.
I'm just gonna make a sticker for myself that says I'm not a Foley girly. I'm just gonna make a T-shirt that says that on it, and maybe wear it the next time I'm on SpecDub or something, and see how long it takes Stace to notice.
Foley does sound like a dwarven name, though. In fairness,
not a Foley girly.
Feely Keely and Foley.
Amazing. But yeah, how'd we like that? We're workshopping. We're gonna do this again no matter what. But I always love feedback. Cyber, not sorry I scared the pants off you with the Nazgul. Not at all.
I don't give a fuck. I genuinely was like, that was a moment where I was like, wait a minute. I don't remember. I read up on the battle. I don't remember there being an Nazgul here. What the fuck is happening? What the shit? Like, I was panicking.
Yeah. It's,
like, oh no.
Got immediately after got them though. Like, that was the point.
Yeah.
Again, I'm panicking. I don't have a plan again.
But yeah, no, that was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Thoroughly enjoyed that.
Yeah, and then the next episode, which will be sometime in the next 3 to 4 weeks, will be the Minas Tirith. The party comes together. Maybe we'll have Sarisa, who's a dear friend of mine who is also very deeply obsessed with Lord of the Rings, will be playing with us as well. And we'll see, maybe Kira will be here and a couple other people, so it'll be so much fun.
Yeah. I think, I know Joel's not officially signed up for this yet, however, we all know how much Joel loves Lord of the Rings as well. We might be able to bend his arm a little bit, get him involved.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's gonna be so good. Keep an eye out on the Discord, and if you're not already, go follow us on social media. SpecDub_studios on TikTok, SpecDub Studios on Instagram. We post there 3 times a week. Fun little clips of us being assholes on the internet. It's a fun time. So if you haven't followed us there, please do. We'll love you forever as if we didn't already. And yeah, we'll see you tomorrow for part 2 of Little Kitty Big City.
That we will. It's going to be a chaotic fun time. We've still got plenty of characters left to meet. So it should be a lot of fun to see how we end up, how we react to that. There's a few very good
I
ones.
end up being every bird in the game, I'm gonna be mad.
I might end up try to fix the wheel somehow so that happens. I'm not gonna lie, kind of tempted.
You can't see the grumpy bitch face I just made you, but it happened, and I need you to know that.
Just alter the odds ever so slightly in the HTML. Just go back to the page.
Oh no, I know this spells out Shammers, but oh no, I think that's actually Kendall that's got the bird character this time. Oh no, whatever shall we do? So one last thing before we call it a night. Cyber, where else can we find you on Tinterwebs?
You can find me on Twitch at Cyberman_360, where I'll be making my return to streaming in the following week. Taking some time off because I got hit with an absolute bastard of a cold and just could not shake it for love nor money.
Are you sure it wasn't
So we'll be back.
bad hay fever, considering how fucking hot it is in your country right now?
Oh no, it was definitely, because as soon as I started getting better, Emma came down with it as well.
Oh.
So it made its way through. Yeah, it was definitely a cold because hay fever is not catching. So I know it was that.
Fair enough.
But yeah, came out the back of that. We'll be going on to... No, it was definitely man flu. Get fucked. Right? That is not...
Surely
Emma,
that's one of the reasons to be in a relationship with someone, Cyber. I mean, you know.
yeah, true. That's one of many. One of many. But yes.
Listen, Emma, I need you to know that I was thinking it. But I didn't say it, and I'm very glad that you were going to
Because you're a coward. Anyway.
Listen, I am a coward who picks her... I'm not a coward. I am a petty person who picks her battles. That's all.
You know what? Fair. I can appreciate that. But yeah, you can find me you can find me on Twitch. You can also find me over on Spotify, where I host my podcast alongside my very dear friend Mr. Jacob Russo, Archive Panic, which will be making its return this week, where we take a look at our first good Captain America movie, of Captain America: The First Avenger, as we continue to make our way through the MCU.
Okay, I just need you guys to know, I have an hour-and-a-half long commute from my house to work on a good day. And when I just want to listen to something that if I'm having like a weird morning where I'm just like, I don't want to do anything, and I'm like, I have to walk 15 minutes to the bus, I have to take an hour-and-a-half long friggin' set of bus and train rides, and I'm just mad about it, I will put on an episode of Archive Panic, and then all of a sudden, I'm having to like keep myself from laughing obnoxiously in public, and I feel so much better. So if that's not a glowing commendation of like stressed out Kendall listens to Archive Panic to not be stressed, then like I don't know what.
Fuck yeah.
And it's good. It's good. It's like the perfect combination of like, it's like movie reviews that don't take themselves too seriously, because I feel like a lot of people who review movies are like, this is the most serious work I've ever done, and it's like, no, I'm gonna sit here and take the piss out of this thing and still say that I like it. Like, it's good. And
well, only one of us is educated in movies, and it ain't me. So I'm gonna take the right royal piss. And Jacob is just Jacob. So even if he had the capacity to take it seriously, he would just be sat there like, oh no, I'm ripping this to fucking shreds. I don't care.
But you still offer valuable perspective from the acting side, so that is.
There is. I do have that, but yeah.
Yeah.
So that's where I am on Tinterwebs.
When
yes.
you say it in that accent, it's like so weird to me. I love you dearly. Like that one word. I'm like, why is that just weird?
Yes, and next on our list, Kendall, my dearest. Where else can we find you other than in this wonderful place we call SpecDub Studios?
Yeah.
Where else can we find you on the web?
Well, you can find me in multiple places if you go on ye old Instagram. KAY_ELLE_EM09 is my art-ish account. I don't have anything posted there. There are a lot of projects that I'm working on that aren't finished because they take 13 years. You try filling a 16 by 24 art canvas with a 5-inch Sharpie and tell me how you like it. But we persist. I also, that Instagram will link to my personal, I call it my personal Instagram, it's my LARP Instagram. 80% of what's on there is LARP stuff, so you can follow me there, see more about my LARP adventures. And then I also, speaking of LARP, am the streaming face of Refuge LARP, so if you ever want to like see fun things like us building our LARP characters in the character creators for games like Baldur's Gate and Dragon Age and like those kinds of games, we do fun stuff like that once a month at twitch.tv/refuge REFUGE_LARP. But yeah, we have fun. it's obviously very niche content because LARPers are very niche people, but it's fun and entertaining if you squint. So yeah. All right. That's me. But Shammers, where can we find you in ye old world that is not ye old world of internet that is not this place?
Yes. So, aside from this wonderful place called blah blah blah, this called SpecDub Studios, you can find me. Well, you will be able to find me at some point when we get things recorded and edited and put up, as a character in the series Altera. It is a trans-friendly alternative to the Wizarding series that shall not be named, written by Dat Turf, and yes. So you'll see me in that as Nick Lightwing when we've not even started filming yet, so I don't know why I'm bringing it up. But yes, once that gets filmed and edited, you'll be able to see me in that. You'll also occasionally see me within a roleplay community called the Syndicate Guilds. If you like TTRPGs, that's a fun one to do. They've built their own system from the ground up. And other than that, I do have a Twitch channel. I don't stream there. It's Shammers Streams, twitch.tv/Shammers Streams. I might be streaming something in the next couple of weeks as a test stream for something else, but we will see. That's if time allows. Yes, for the Syndicate, I run something called Syndicate Pro Wrestling, so I might be streaming that at some point. But we will see. But yes, those are the main places you can find me on the internet. Otherwise, I'm boring as fuck. I don't really do much social media-wise. Other than this,
shit, you are not a boring person. You are fucking cool as shit.
Well, there's that, but I mean, boring as fuck from a social media perspective, because I don't really post much on any of my social medias. So that is, but yes, from that, yeah, you'll basically see me in the SpecDub's Discord, which is the best place other than our social media, to keep up to date on all things SpecDub, when we go live, any potential community night votes, that kind of shenaniganry. Right, well, is there anything else anyone else would like to say? Anything else for anything? I cannot speak.
I think that this was a great thing, and I'm really glad that I got to do it, even though I was really nervous, and my hands still itch, and it's over. But thank you, everyone, so much for tuning in and watching and being here, and we will see you tomorrow for part dose of Little Kitty Big City.
Woo!
Bye.
Fucking who?
Bye.
Make good choices. Be a leader. Don't do anything I wouldn't do more than once. If you do, take pictures. Bye.